Sub traders, Trades here. Let's do a first pre-market analysis for the first trading day of 2025, which is the 2nd of January, Thursday. Let's just dive into what we're seeing at the moment. So December closed bearish. We've had a strong bearish order flow on the monthly time frame ever since price came up and took out this high. We came into quite a major sell side liquidity and tapped into the monthly time frame fair value gap just below that sell side liquidity and found some support. It's clearer on the lower time frames, the support price found, and then it opened in November. Price opened, gap to open, wicked up, essentially the initial manipulation leg of the month of December, and then dropped lower. And I'll be watching these areas at the moment. So let's drop down to the lower time frame. Do think if price can push lower, it can potentially come into the 50% of this fair value gap on the monthly time frame. Weekly time frame order flow has been bearish. We had a series of bearish weeks and then price pulled back and then continued lower. At the moment, it looks like we are going to come down and take out this low from November. We had a slight divergence with pound dollar. See right here, we took out the low of November on pound dollar, whereas on euro dollar we failed to take out that low. Especially this was last week, 2 weeks ago, right after putting in this divergence. Price has been consolidating, ranging sideways at the moment. But to me, order flow on euro dollar is bearish. I could see price taking out sell side liquidity. This one coming into the monthly time for fair value gaps 50%, which also happens to be just below this sell side liquidity on the weekly time frame, and could potentially come down to 1.0225 level and find some kind of a support. But first I need to see some kind of a bearish momentum after taking out this low, and then from there I can predict what and where price could potentially go to. Price almost took out that sell side liquidity where we had that divergence, and then pulled back where it came in and took out that previous support that turned into resistance. It almost tested that and then took out liquidity off the swing and tapped into this fair value gap on the daily time frame, it's 50% level, and then rejected it with this bearish engulfing candle. And after that candle, I was bearish on the 31st of December because of the way price reacted after taking out this swing high at a daily time for fair value gap with this bearish engulfing candle. And I didn't take a short on this pair because Aussie dollar was to me a better setup, and I took a short on Aussie dollar instead. At the moment, order flow is bearish to me, right? This liquidity grab right here and the displacement after that on the 240 is clear. We came back, pulled up, and then displaced lower again, leaving a breaker right here with the strong fair value gaps. Tomorrow morning we could potentially see price retracing into this level and then dropping. From analysis and backtesting previous years on euro dollar during the open of a New Year's, euro dollar normally likes to drop, so we might see a slight pullback and then price just drops down to these lows. And it's in line with the bearish order flow, so tomorrow morning I will be looking to trade that. Had a perfect channel right here on euro dollar at this high with RSI diverging, which is something I was watching the whole time. Just didn't get the entry that I was looking for, and price just tanked. And like I said, there was an entry around here, but I was interested in taking the entry on Aussie dollar because it was clearer, and plus euro dollar took out this low and found some small support. So to me, I wanted to be in the Aussie trade more because it was just had more confluences confirming the bearish bias, whereas euro dollar and pound dollar didn't. So let's see how tomorrow opens and how this week ends, and then we'll decide next week's bias after the weekly candles printed. We got unemployment claims tomorrow, and we got ISM manufacturing PMI on Friday, so a couple of news coming out. We might say it's going to be a slow day, but it never seems to be, does it? On the 31st of December, right, you'd expect price to be slow. On the 30th of December, you'd expect it to be slow. Although, yes, it's ranging. Lower time frames, there are plenty of opportunities to trade. Pound dollar at the moment, right? Bearish candles after a push up. Potentially could come down to this sell side liquidity at 1.229 or 1.2223. 1.23. Like I said with euro dollar, we had a divergence, and honestly, if this week's candle is a bearish candle, then next week I'll be looking to trade that down to that level. Also need to remember that is Thursday tomorrow and Friday the day after, so although yes, price is bearish, I'm not going to trade against support levels on the last days of the week, because more than likely price could find support around that level. Especially we have this order block on the weekly time frame right there. We also have daily time frame sell side liquidity, and we also have this fair value gap right there on the daily time frame, and even better, there's the inverse fair value gap right there, which price could potentially come down because it's below that sell side liquidity. To me, it's a much better location for price to come and find support. And if it comes to that level with a channel or in a certain way, then I will look to go long. But until then, I am bearish. We took out previous week's high this week already at the start of this week, and then previous week's high, and we have started to displace lower on the 2 trading days that we've had so far. Price, right, my sell side liquidity, I'm expecting price to come down to this low right there, but also acknowledge the fact that we took out this low and found some support, pushed up, and then we've been displacing lower. Although not as good as the euro dollar, to me, I do think euro dollar has been more promising for tomorrow than pound dollar, because pound dollar, if we start to see a pullback and then into this zone, then yeah, it would be a good opportunity to short. But to me, we've already taken out a low on pound dollar, so to me that kind of ruins the fun. Even if the order flow is bearish, I will much rather wait for next week or this week's candle to close and give me more confirmation on whether price is going to continue lower or not, and then from there I can decide whether I want to continue trading price down to these lows. But I do believe, or my prediction is, that it could potentially come down to this level, and I will look to go long from there. Not a long expecting price to come back up to these highs, but just a really short-term trade, probably like 1 to 2 hour trade. Price on Friday put in this bullish engulfing candle with the low and the open as the same, and then pushed up, and I was expecting, or I was predicting price to come up and take out these highs, and then was seeing whether this candle was pulling this price down to this level, because order flow was been bearish. I wasn't sure whether this is just something I'm watching and analyzing at the moment. Is this right here, candles like this where open and close at the same time, which could act as a magnet for price to in the future pull back into, and it's exactly what it does on Monday. Price takes out previous week's high, puts in this bearish engulfing candle, and then bam, drops down to this low, and it looks like we're holding this bullish fair value gap on the 240, but price fails to push higher up, and then it closes below that fair value gap, and then again pushes up and takes the high of that inverse fair value gap, and then from there we are currently bearish, right? We've got some swing highs right here, around here, that price could potentially come and take our liquidity off tomorrow and continue down, honestly, to this low. Let's see. It could come down to previous week's low, or even the low from the 18th of December week, which was 2 weeks ago. So your prediction is price could potentially come down to this low. It's just not sure how it's going to do that. And I'll much rather wait for price to close this week and give me some further confirmation on whether it's going to continue bearish or not. And yeah, those are my analysis for the week ahead, or the remaining 2 days of this week. Euro dollar, I have much better analysis, and I do believe we have room to go lower, and there's room for price to pull into. And because it's the start of the year, normally there is a bearish order flow coming in and pushing price lower. I'm not sure where to, but if I see a pullback tomorrow morning, then I'll short. given that we haven't taken out the sell side liquidity already. If the sell side liquidity is taken out before price pulls back, then honestly it's not a valid trade, and I'll just wait for the next opportunity. So yeah, let's go. Let's have a good year this year. Let's get funded. Let's get funded payouts, which is more important than being funded, because yeah, payout is difficult to reach. And yeah, my goal this year is just to start getting some payouts. Well, get more accounts funded and get payouts from those accounts. So, and continue to journal my trades, minimize bad trades, maximize good trades, don't take too many trades. Those are the 3 main points I need to focus on, because I know that is my weakness, which is not taking bad trades, because I take really great trades, but at the same time I have some trades that I know are unnecessary, and that keeps me from growing every day. So that is something I need to really focus on, and also focus on other things that's not trading throughout the day, because when I'm focused on other things throughout the day that is not trading related, I am a lot more sharper and clearer with what I want to do with trading. And when I'm continuously just watching the charts throughout the day, I seem to make a lot more mistakes. So that's my main goal. So I'll probably provide an update end of month, and let's see how that goes. Cool.